Our podcast is a part of the World Podcast Network, now with over 1,000 podcasts. Visit the World Podcast Network at worldpodcast.network to listen to podcasts in over 12 genres. Come vote our podcast episodes up and help us rise on the leaderboard. If you have a podcast of your own, you can join for free. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing The Other Way, one of the episodes for The Other Way. Now, it's been a little bit. Usually I try to come in with an episode on Wednesday. You're getting an episode a day later this week. We'll have, most likely we'll have all the episodes out that I'm recording today out today. So that's the plan, getting back into the groove. There's a lot going on right now. That's all, but we're gonna get back into it. So that being said, I know I said I'd probably have B90 done by the end of this week, or at least in it by the end of this week. That's not going to be the case now. We're probably going to be getting to all of the episodes by the end of next week. With Toe ending, I kind of want that to be the focus, and it's obviously a little easier to get through, but we will get over to that. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do B90 so that it can catch up a little easier, but I will think about that, and I'll let everybody know once I kind of have an idea what that's going to look like. So let's do some hot goss before we jump into this. First things first, Robert and Annie have welcomed their son. He is 9 pounds and 7 ounces. I believe he was born yesterday on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it was Tuesday. So congrats to them on their new son. I don't think we have any pictures. That's fine. So let's go to the next piece of hot goss. So this is Golden Bachelorette related. Apparently people have been kind of being mean with Joan. I believe this is what this is about. So she was on the Nick Vile podcast, and this is what she kind of had to say. So the Golden franchise is a little bit unique because we come here with a lot of past. We lived a lot of life, and it doesn't completely surprise me that there are things that they're maybe not proud of later on. And this was on October 23rd. She continued to say, also this is actually about Guy, not about that. I do have stuff about that too, but this is about Guy. She says, I never saw that side of Guy or of anybody. My interactions with all the guys were pure and lovely, and I would have never had any indication that there was any kind of past that he had. I had no idea what the interactions with his ex-wife were at that time. He was so kind to me, and he was so open, and he was so vulnerable. He cried, he talked about, finally feeling happy for the first time in so many years. And never in a million years would have guessed that there was any kind of past there. She added, I still believe that he's a kind and good person. Maybe he made a mistake. I don't know. I don't know anything about it other than what you guys know. So there's that. Which, again, we haven't seen anything crazy with him. Maybe he had a lapse in judgment, but I mean, that's a massive lapse in judgment. So, we're going to give him the same, I believe, honestly, even if the case was dismissed, I'm going to give him the same energy that we've been giving Gil, that we've been giving Devin. I'm going to give that same energy because it's not okay for men to exert their power like this in this way over women. It's not fair. It's unnecessary. So I'm going to give him the same energy that we've been giving everybody else. So anyway, and again, I know nothing. I haven't seen Fantasy Suite episodes yet, or this week's episode yet either. So I don't even know if he's still there, but it's yeah. Anyway, next piece of hot goss. We haven't talked about it, but obviously everyone knows about it. Last Resort is coming. I'm really excited about this. The trailer looks like it's going to be really, really good. It's going to be messy. I'm excited for some of the people who are on here for different reasons, and I'll talk about it as we kind of go through who's going to be there because I haven't talked about it. So we're going to talk about it, see from my perspective. But let's get into it. So the cast of season 2, Last Resort, is Stacy and Florian. And here's what they have to say. Well, I don't know if I'm going to go through what has to be here, but of course, we haven't seen Stacy or Florian since the last season of Darcy and Stacy, which was, I feel like it's been about a couple of years now since the last season, and which is a travesty, but anyway. So it's going to be really fun to see them. Florian is a delight with some of the things this man will say. Geez, Lord, I'm so excited. And I'm here for it. I'm here for them being here because I love the messy, and maybe this means we can get a little Darcy in there too. Maybe that means we can also get Papa Silva. Oh, I'm so excited for this. I don't know if we're gonna, be kind of interesting if we could see a little Georgie in there too. That'd be great, but who knows? We'll see. We're definitely seeing Darcy though. 100% we're seeing Darcy. And I definitely think if I don't see a Papa Silva in here, I'm going to be really frustrated because I feel like he should be there. So that's where my mind's at with having Stacey and Florian. But the next cast member is going to be Brandon and Julia. Oh God. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like yes, they quote unquote have issues, but it's like, is it that bad that you need to be on the show? I feel like they're just trying to get some money. That's how I feel personally. Um, but it's I don't know. I don't know if I really want to see because his mom's going to be there because obviously that dynamic. So it's I'm not really looking forward to it. I'm just going to say that. But the next cast, and this, I mean, this we know. I think we knew this. I think most of the people we're hearing here, we already knew about. But the next is Jasmine and Gino. Obviously, we kind of know what's been going on. There's been the rumors that, if you don't want to know, spoiler alert, skip ahead 10 seconds. We know that they're not together. But this is going to be great for the reasons that you guys aren't expecting. Not because of Gino and Jasmine. I don't want to talk about, I know they have a lack of sex life, but I don't want to talk about how he doesn't suck on, or she doesn't suck on his toes anymore. I don't want to hear that anymore. I really don't care. There's a reason why that I am excited for this, and it's not for, I think it's obvious why I'm here for this. We're going to get there. Just let me get to that cast member and we'll get there. Actually, we're here now. Natalie and Josh. Okay, so where Natalie and Josh are concerned, I don't understand why they're here. They're not even a freaking couple. They were never a couple. I don't understand why they're here. I mean, your confusion, girl. You want to know why? Because you're not together. I think the easiest thing you can do here is just move on to the next. I would understand if Natalie and freaking Mike were here more than I understand Josh and Natalie. You know what I mean? But who knew that this could be delivering though? Because this season has put 2 of the craziest people in the same show, and that is Natalie and Jasmine. And as we can see, there is going to be fighting between Natalie and Jasmine. I am here for it. Bring it on. I'm here for it. That's the only reason I'm like, this was a great idea. Because Jasmine's crazy. Natalie's cuckoo magoo. This is going to be great. This is going to be perfect. And apparently it looks like Gino's going to be fighting people too. I don't know who he's going to be fighting, but we got to be very, 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 very careful because that hat's going to fall off. I am so ready. Those are nudes. I'm so ready. Okay. Next, Rob and Sophie. I don't even give a shit. We're going to move on because I don't care. Ari and Binny, which again, I think everybody knows here, this shouldn't be a spoiler at this point. We know they're not together. But it's just, whatever, I guess. Whatever. It's fine. But anyway, those are our cast. The only one that I'm actually like, were they there, but then they weren't included. I don't know, but we know about the whole Paradise Men and how that includes Josh and Rob and Jamal. And I'm like, okay, but we know that they were together and this kind of started because of Last Resort, or that's kind of the rumor. So w- they all live in different places. I mean, I think the only people who actually live in the same state is Josh and Rob, but it's just like, how did we get here? How did that happen? You know what I mean? So I was kind of surprised to see that they were not on the show, but at the same time, I'm not, because they also don't need to be on the show because they're not together anymore. I'm not talking obviously Jamal and Veronica, but yeah, that's our cast. Show starts on December 2nd. I'm excited. It's obviously going to be following Toe. And I think that Last Resort is going to give us what Toe has not. So there we go. I'm going to say this last piece of hot goss because it's the last thing that I have here for now. So we'll say this and then we'll get on to the episode. So this is Love is Blind related. This is in reference to Tyler and Ashley. I have been seeing the TikToks thanks to Ava. I have been, you know, seeing what's kind of going on here right now with everything, and her responses. Tyler's been silent through most of this, but her response and stuff like this and whatever. She's a trash human. I do not care anymore, and it's really pathetic, honestly, at this point. But this is kind of in reference to that, and um this I think is from the ex, if I'm correct. And this was on TikTok, and I'm don't remember who this was shared by. Oh, this was on Love is Blind Binge. They posted this, and this was a recent post that Tyler's baby mom posted. So she says, all I will say is everything being said about me and my children better be cleared up by Tyler, or I will expose everything. Girl, expose them receipts. Anyway, as I've stated previously, I am trying really hard not to say anything, because at the end of the day, at the end of every single day, I have to be strong for my children, but I will not allow my name to continuously be dragged through the mud like this. I did not ask for this, and the kids and I definitely do not deserve any of it. Amen, girl. Please do not make me take it there, Tyler. Please take it there, girl. Take it there. Take it there. Um, I gotta kind of read this, and most of this being blocked here. Um, and she goes on to say that, like, her, I guess, and the children absolutely, um, or saying, unfortunately, nothing I am not willing to expose. I think she's saying there's nothing that she's not willing to expose. Um, but I mean, girls, but post some things. Show us everything. This man is trash, and his wife is trash, and you need to expose everything. Do it. Go ahead and do it. I know she posted a video. I'm not sure if it was recent, if it's been since the reunion, but I did see one where she kind of was saying stuff. And the thing is, it's like, listen, my girl, get it all out there. I don't care. Like, she shouldn't have to do this. And yes, she didn't ask for this. But at the end of the day, like, this man needs to be exposed. This man needs to be put out there. Ashley, she needs to have all her shit exposed, because at the end of the day, and I think there was a TikTok that Ava sent me that I thought was really insightful. Um, I will see if I don't know if you could, I'm not a TikTok person, okay? But if I can find, the video again and maybe somehow post it to my TikTok, and that way everyone can see it. I'm not sure if you can do that. I don't know. Um, but if I can find it, I thought it was really insightful, and I thought it was really well said that Ashley is kind of a pick-me girl, in the sense of she is so desperate to have some form of um the thing that she's missing in her life due to her father's absence, that she is so willing to settle for anything and do whatever she needs to do to make sure that that's not jeopardized. And I mean, she said a lot better than I did, but she's basically dealing with that abandonment issue. She has daddy issues, in the sense of she, She has that going on, and she doesn't want it to have that being jeopardized. So if that means that he doesn't have a relationship with his kids, she's okay with that, and she's willing to double down and stick to the status quo because she needs to protect what is so, special to her. So it's, and making sure she keeps her man, but it's just like, at the end of the day, like, I don't know if Ashley's listening. I don't even think she really cares about what anyone is saying, honestly, but I'm going to say this. Yes, I said you're trash earlier, and I still believe that, but I'm going to say this. This man, you're so much better than this. You're so much better than him. I really truly believe that. There's a reason why I liked you in the beginning. There's a reason I think a lot of us liked you in the beginning, because you have your head on your shoulders. You seem to know what you want, and for whatever reason you want this. But I personally do not believe she knew anything prior. I think that is what she wants to say now because she needs a safe face. And I I do think that what this man did to this woman, and he can make the excuse of, oh, we weren't married, but I don't care if you were married or not. You have children. You created life with her. You created two lives with her, in the sense of that you guys were in a relationship. You laid down and you had a children with her. And yes, you had a child with her previously, in the sense of you donated, and, you know, applause to you in that. Thank you for your service, because there are so many people who are struggling and you're willing to do that for the good of her. Okay, great. But you ended up having a relationship with this woman and then having kids with her. You are, in all intents and purposes, the father of these two girls. Not even as intents and all purposes. You are the father of of these two girls. They call you dad. You are their dad. And you abandoned them. So Ashley, I question why you think that he won't do the same to you when something else comes his way, when the new shiny toy comes his way. Why do you think he won't do the same to you? Because he probably will. Because men like him are trash. He has shown his ass to you. And you sit there and you double down. I would have, like I said in the episode, if you want to hear more, if you haven't listened to it, you can head over to the reunion episode. But I said there, I'm like, I would have had more respect for you if you just said, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want. Yes, I didn't know about X, Y, and Z. And yes, that hurt me. But I am going to stick by my man. I'm going to try to make this work. And I understand that. Trust me, I get it. I have been there. I have done that. You try to make something work because you love that person with every fiber of your being, and you're try to make that work. And you make a valiant effort to try to make that work. But this, I can say this right now. If my ex chose to abandon his child so he could keep the relationship he had with me wherever he thinks it needed to be, I wouldn't have accepted that. I would have been like, no, you're not it then. Because if you're really going to abandon your child, then we're not it. I would never have allowed that to happen. Because at the end of the day, you act like you don't have a child or children. You're the top tier trash. Like, he's top tier trash in my books. You know what I mean? Tyler's top tier trash. We have people like, what's his face in Married at First Sight, who was with Paige. I thought he was top tier trash. No, you're lucky. What was his name again? I know I figured out his name, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that was his name. It was like Chris or something like that. Anyways, we all thought he was top tier trash. I'm like, nah, my guy. Tyler has gotten top tier trash. Top tier. Real bad. Anyway, that's basically that with this episode with Asakos, where we're gonna get into the episode now. All right, so let's get into it. Hopefully y'all don't hear a helicopter that's flying overhead in my neighborhood. I guess someone's in trouble. Anyway, The Other Way, season 6, episode 15, Fools Rushed In. So we have Sarper and Shekinah first, and we're just gonna just jump on to the best part of this. Like, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on each thing here, but Shekinah has her nose consultation. As we know, she's had two rhinoplasties before, but she just wasn't happy with those. She wants to get a new one. She wants to be better. And the doctor kind of says to her, your nose isn't bad. Could be better though. And I'm like, God damn it. And Sarfra's like, I am so nervous. How long's the surgery going to be? She's going to be under anesthesia. He's like, how long is it supposed to be? He says, surgery could be about 3 hours. And that's a really freaking long time. I mean, I don't understand how a rhinoplasty takes 3 hours. I mean, I had my whole gallbladder taken out, and that took an hour. You know what I mean? Like, I know there's more involved because you need, I get it. But fuck's sakes. Anyway, he's apparently, he tried to convince her to not do this, saying that she's beautiful already. But he says, it's not up to me. She wants this. I am not in control. That bothers the hell out of him. He's out here being like, I need to get control of the situation. Anyway, so basically the doctor kind of tells her, like, there's the 3 sections to your face and they should be equal. So you kind of go from, I guess, like the top of your head to your to the top of your nose, and that should be leveled. And then you go to, I guess, the top of the nose to the bottom of the nose, and that should be equal. And then you go from the bottom of your nose to the bottom of your face, and that should also be equal. So he's saying, it's okay, but it's not like quite okay. He's like, it's a little droopy. Jesus Christ. Droopy? I feel like there's nothing on Shekinah's face that's droopy. What the hell? And Sarver says, so listen, I've been reading stuff, looking at stuff. I think, like, I kind of have an idea in my head on what I want her nose to kind of look. Can I show you something? My guy pulls out a marker and everything. He came prepared. And I'm just like, whoa. He had one of those, like, marker things. You just marker. And then he gets in there and he says, so we're going to be taking this off, right? And we're going to be doing this and we're going to be doing this. He's going to, like, doing the drawing stuff on her nose. And I'm like, I don't even know what to do. I feel like he just basically just drew whatever the fuck came to his mind. In this moment, there's no rhyme nor reason to what he's drawing. It's the weirdest thing. But it was the marker for me that he came prepared with it, and I'm just like, he 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 came prepared with a marker. It's it's like, it'd be like the doctor being like, "Oh, you want my marker?" No, I came with one. It's fine. I came prepared. Jeez, this guy is oh. This is the only delight I get from the show is Sarper and Shekinah. This is it. We will get a little better here though when we get into Lily's daughter coming into a mix, and I'm like, here we are. So anyway, we're not there yet though. So the doctor basically says, like, I've never seen this before, where a guy's coming in and marking up, like, telling me what her nose should look like. And I'm like, you don't know Sarper. You don't know Sarper. Anyway, he's like, he has good points though. Yeah. So he basically, Sarper at this point basically was like, can I be in the OR? Can I be there? No. No, sir. You can't be in there. Number 1, you're not a doctor. Number 2, it's not sanitary. Okay. Number 3, she would come out. And again, I'm going to say this. I'm an MJ fan, but I'm going to say it. We're going to come out here looking like Michael Jackson with no nose. Harper cannot be in the OR. Okay. He can't. Anyway. So she says, oh, how do I look? And he's like, you look like a cat. And I'm like, and we know how he feels about cats. Remember that million episodes ago, how he feels about cats? Anyways, the next scene, it's surgery day, and he just wants to stare at her nose because it's the last time he's gonna be able looking at her nose. And he's like, "Let me look at your nose one more time. It's the last time I'm gonna see your nose in this apartment." And she's like, "Can we just go?" Like, what's the big deal here? Um, but they get there. They have like the nurse here who's gonna kind of talk to them about the different things, what to kind of expect, the different, what you're gonna do after the fact and stuff like that. So basically she can't shower at all for a week. Also says that you can't like wash your face or even brush your teeth for a week afterwards. What the fuck? And she's like, "What?" She's like, "I don't remember ever being told this before." Like the face thing I get, but brushing your teeth? Like, I mean, I guess what you could do, I guess, is mouthwash, but like to not brush your teeth for the entire week, that's disgusting. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, I don't think she's gonna do that. Um, but the other thing and the big thing that I swear to God, Sarper died. Sarper died in that moment. He died and went to hell. Like he's like, what fresh hell is this? So the nurse basically says here, "Oh, by the way, you can't have sex for a month." And he's like, oh. He's like, "What?" His face, he d- he I think he stopped breathing. I think he stopped breathing. I legitimately think he saw his eyes were bulging. He's like, "But what?" Ma'am, you do not know who you're telling this to. You don't understand. Like, what? Like, that was my thing too, was like, I had to ask the question because I needed to know. But when I went to my surgery and going through everything with my surgeon, and I had to ask the question, I'm like, okay, you told me about this, that, and the other. What about sex? Because I'm in a relationship with a man who I need to make sure he realizes what's about to occur, you know? And I was told a month too. And I mean, obviously it's different reasons, but I was told a month as well. And I had to tell him, like, by the way, I hope you realize we're not gonna be having sex for like a month. And the thing is like with everything kind of happening before that as well, we weren't having much sex anyways. But it was just like, I need you to know. And he took that well. He's still a different person than Harper. He took that well, but just like Shekinah, and I'll get more into this in a minute, but like Shekinah says at one point in this, she's like, "We're not going to probably abide by everything we're hearing," because that was my thing too. I'm like, 3 weeks, it's almost a month. That was me. So it was, I totally understood what she was saying here. But Sarper, man, he killed me. He's like, "But wait, what?" And um, he's like, 30 days. 30 days? Like, that's what 30 days? And I'm like, "Breathe, my guy, breathe." And he says his eyes bulging, faces Shekinah. He's like, "That's 7,200 hours." He's stressed. He's counting and everything. He is, he's in the freshest of hells in this moment. And he's like, "We can just leave right now. We can leave right now." And Shekinah basically asks, she's like, "What if he's doing all of the work?" And she's like, "Oh, that's fine." It's like, "Well, then there we go. There you go. We're gonna be fine. Like, give it a week. It'll be fine. As long as he's doing all the work." Basically, the reason she says that is because if you're overexerting too much, it could basically cause the nose to bleed. So that's why. You probably can't do certain positions, I'm assuming either. Like, yeah. Anyway, um, and he's like, "Okay, great, we're fine with that." And he's like, "I almost had a heart attack." He looked like he was about to have a heart attack. He looked like he was about to have an aneurysm. He looked he looked stressed. He did not look good. Okay. Um, but anyways, it's basically that. She's off. She's gonna go do the surgery, and we will see how that turned out in the next episode. All right. Next, we have Joanne and Sean. So she is talking to Joey here. He's packing up because he's going to be leaving soon. And um we basically see like a scene where they were going out. He's not handling this very well, which understandable. And apparently they went out earlier, which we didn't see. And he is kind of like, I just want to go home. And she's like, home or home, home? He's like, home, home. Like he's is done. He's done with all of this shit. He wants to go home. And that's really, I feel really bad for him. Um, but she says, like, how are you feeling since I dumped everything on you? Ha! Like, is this funny to you? You dumped so much on your kids. And this is funny. This is lighthearted to you. Like, oh God. So she kind of says, because he has a lot of questions, and I think he has a lot of valid questions, and we'll kind of get to that. And she says, like, I won't like just up and leave you. You guys, I'm gonna be there. She's like, obviously I want to be happy, but like, you know, not in at your expense. But again, you have been doing this at their expense the entire time. Even if you haven't done it directly to their face, this has all been to their expense. And he says, you know, what if, you know, who's going to be there? Like who's going to be there? Like what if, you're going to be here, dad's 45 minutes away. Dad doesn't even live in the same place. He doesn't even live in the same town or city. I think they're in Long Island, I believe. Am I correct there? Anyway, he doesn't even live there. He lives somewhere else in New York. And it's oh my God. And of course, like, don't know what family is nearby them. Obviously, his dad's not nearby. We know her mom lives in, I believe it was North Carolina, right? Like, they don't live nearby. And I don't know, like, with like, his grandparents on his dad's side, we don't know where they live. So it's really messed up here. And he says, what about Jesse? What if Jesse needs something? You're not there. Dad's not close by. Like, it's all going to be on me because I'm going to be the one that's in close proximity. And she says to him, well, you won't need to be responsible for him. Like, you're not going to be responsible for him. I'll get on the next plane. But that plane ride isn't exactly an hour away. You're still, I don't know how far it is from Ireland to New York, but it's still a few hours at the very least. I'm going to guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 6 hours at minimum. So it's like you're not going to get there fast enough. What if it's an emergency? I mean, yes, dad's is closer by, so he'll get there. But in the meantime, you have your 18-year-old son stressing if there's something wrong with his brother, and he's alone having to deal with it. How is this going to work? So, um, but she said, but what if Jesse wants to move here? Then maybe you can move here too. He said, but what if I don't want to move here? Then I'm going to be alone. Yeah. And we don't know what kind of relationship he has with his father, if it's in the sense that he can go live with his father. But again, we also don't know where his father lives exactly. Maybe it's not near a college or a university, depending on what he wants to do. So it's just like, how does this work? He's going to be alone. And again, like I said, how, and like, I understand like your kids, this Joey anyways is legally, in legal sense, an adult. But he's only 18. You really don't come into yourself until at least, I'm going to probably say, even for me, I really didn't come into myself until my late 20s and feel comfortable to do certain things until I was in my late 20s. And of course, that was with my mom nearby. You know what I mean? I don't know what I would have done if my mom wasn't nearby. So it's like, you got to give him the chance to really come into himself. He may be legally an adult, but he's still a kid. So but yeah, we don't know what's really gonna happen there. But Anyway, in the next scene, they're headed to the airport. The kids are leaving with Noelle. Noelle apparently went right into her with keeping the secrets and everything, which is understandable. Yeah, but we obviously didn't see that either because I guess it just isn't enough of their storyline to have anything. Because like I feel like we really didn't get enough. I feel like if Donna was in Ireland, this would have been chef's kiss. I really do, and I think we would have gotten a lot more. But we barely got anything of them. We got a lot of, oh, look at this scene that happened earlier, you know? But Joanne says, no, sorry, I said that right. But Noelle does say that she likes Sean, which is great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Sean. It's just like your decision making here, guys. Like, come on. Um, but then we say the goodbyes, and that's basically that. We'll see them again in the next episode. But that's it for them. Go over to Josh and Lily. So we're right back to the thank you for ruining Jared's night today, honey, about money. And thank God Jared's like, she didn't ruin my night, my guy. I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm great. Just get me the fuck out of this car, but I'm good. But they go to the night market and Josh says that, Jared has always been a peacekeeper in my other relationships because I don't have the emotional maturity to do it for myself. He didn't say that last part, I did. But yeah. He's garbage. Anyway, they get some soup. They get some squid that's barbecued for Jared so he can have that. They sit and they eat and they kind of talk about what happened in the car. Let's talk about the finances because that's clearly the biggest contention for them right now, and sex. Or lack thereof. And he kind of says, like, he kind of feels like, I guess, that you're giving him grief about the finances. And he said, like, does it bother you, Lily, that he can't provide? And she says, I don't care. I care about the love and feeling loved. And right now I'm feeling unloved. And he says, maybe he doesn't really want to know about this because he feels bad. He probably feels emasculated. I don't care though, but he probably feels emasculated about the fact that he can't provide. But she says, I just want to feel the gratitude, which I think is also understandable. But, so he kind of says, well, I'm gathering here. I mean, Jared, do you want to mediate my relationship? My God. But Jared's like, see, this is what I think is going on here. I think that your love languages are just switched. And, Josh usually would be the provider, the one who maybe would like to feel the gratitude, where Lily, would maybe be in Josh's shoes and that, right? So maybe things are just switched a little bit. I would agree with that. This guy's great. And Josh says that he's like I am sensitive. Sensitive does not begin to say. I think we're confusing sensitivity with narcissistic, but that's okay. He says that I'm sensitive, but as long as we talk, you know, think positive, we can move forward with that. Which okay, great. Jared says you fight so much because you love each other, which yes, to an extent. I think, and I'm a believer of it too, but there's a fine line between fighting for the relationship, caring about it so much that you will fight for the relationship, and just being completely toxic. But I understand what he's saying here because it's something I believe in, is the fact that when you're not fighting anymore is when you've given up. When you're not fighting anymore is because you don't care anymore. Because what's the point, right? So yeah. So yeah, he says that you're trying to protect it, and that's why you fight for it. So we find out here, though, that her daughter's coming soon. And I don't believe we knew she had a daughter previously. We know she was previously married, but I don't think we knew about kids or anything. But she has a daughter. We'll meet her in the next episode. She's a delight. She adds a little more oomph to the situation, and I'm here for it. And we do find out that she does not like Josh. And I said, same girl, same. But that's basically it for them. I think our last couple that we have in this episode is James and Tatha. So They have been there for 6 weeks. I feel like we've been here for a year, but anyways. Um, and he says, living with her parents has been kind of tough because we knew it would be based on what her sisters said before. Um, Edith says, a love life, that's practically non-existent, which kind of is then, oh, so you guys aren't having sex, or there's a lot of intimacy. Um, you know, Not a lot of PDA, I guess. I don't know, or just showing affection or whatever, because like that's awkward. Um, and also with the money situation, it's tight because they're not making any money. They haven't been helping with the banana chips. Um, and guess what, guys? Let's add more to their plates and have a second wedding that's going to be in 2 weeks. What in the Jesus Lord are we doing here? They're going to be trying on their Javanese wedding attire. So you kind of want to have a traditional Javanese wedding. What is up with this helicopter? Sorry, guys. I don't know if you can hear it, but like they are circling. Something's going on in my neighborhood right now. I don't live in the slums or something. This is ridiculous. Anyway, but yeah, so that's kind of what they're doing. She kind of wanted to have that. So this is what we're doing. Um, So they tried on, I believe he's like, it's unique, it's different. And, when they get in, he's like so big on her, he can barely move in it. In his, he's like, but does my butt look good? And he starts like twerking. And he's like, Seki Shekinah, Kafal Sheka. And he says, well, it's a good thing. Because I mean, the family jewels are kind of free in this. And I'm like, I didn't need to know about your jewels, sir. I didn't. I never want to. Thank you very much. So she kind of talks about the fact that like the first wedding was a little, you know, different. They had a COVID wedding, so it was, not what you wanted. And obviously her parents weren't there either, so it was, not exactly what she was kind of hoping for, but her parents are very excited about this wedding. Um, they are also kind of involved. They kind of have a spending limit of about $1,500, which would give them quite a bit here. But her parents want him to spend more money. And I say, if you want what you want, parents, then you provide that. You provide the money for that. Sorry. Like that. Ugh. Anyway. Um, so yeah. Yeah, they want more. Um, she says that I think it said that he's a little disappointed. Maybe this can give him a little something, um, because they haven't been helping with the chips. And James says, well, how is that helping us make money? Because they're obviously not making any money from that. And she says, like, that's not fair. Like, we could help them. We're living there for free, which I definitely understand that. I think as long as you're not working, you could somehow contribute to the house that you're living in. And if that is one way for you to contribute, then contribute in that way until you can figure something else out. Um, so I definitely understand what she's saying here with that, but that's about as far as I go because I'm about to get about to get pissed. So he says like, yeah, I can't speak Indonesian. And she says, well, you could try harder. Try when I'm not there to translate for you all the time. And I'm like, I get frustrated because anytime this girl starts crying, I'm like, shut up. I mean, we could literally have a competition between Tata and Robin, and I don't know who would win. I really don't. I really think Tata would actually win. Actually, now that I think about it, I feel like she cries for everything. She makes Robin look like just, just dry. Like, what the hell? But that's the part for me that pisses me off is that she just starts crying for everything. And I'm like, shut up, you know? But at the same time, it's like, I understand what she's saying here. And I think what I don't understand is if you have a cell phone that can have a translator on it, why not use it to have conversations with her family so that she doesn't have to translate everything? So I do think him constantly relying on her And if I guess if you're hearing them, maybe that could help. Like, it's not like this it's some language that you can't get access to that's not like a, you know, mainstream quote unquote language or something. It's Indonesian. You must be able to find that language somewhere in an app and have it be translated to you. Like, you may not necessarily find it on a Duolingo or something, but you could do that and hear what they're saying, and maybe that can help you learn the language. So that part I do understand what she's saying. It's just the tears for me. Um, so she kind of says that, I'm expected, or so he says, I'm expected to provide for you, him being the man and all that. And he's like, I don't want to be seen as like weak or not supporting my wife. So that's hard on him too, because he starts crying. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, you're both crying. But I understand also where he's coming from because of the patriarchal society they live in, where she comes from. The man is expected to provide, but it's just like, well, can we, I don't know. Huh. I don't know. Why did you move there then? You had a job, you had a decent job, um, with an amazing trade or skill or whatever you want to call it. Skill, I guess is the right term to use here, that not many people have. And you just fuck off to Indonesia because, and I understand her wanting to go to find out what is going on with her health wise. But then you find out, go home. Tell them this is my diagnosis. I need to have a prescription for X, Y, and Z. And do what you gotta do. Anyway. In the next scene, we see her making some jewelry. And we found out they had a little business back in the States that she would sell stuff. But it's been tough here because they can't find any, I guess, vendors there that would want to take that on. They have maybe customers or existing customers that they already have that maybe would buy stuff from them, but they have no way of shipping it back to the States because it's going to be really expensive to ship back to the States. So it's been a little bit of a time here. Um, she has also been applying to jobs because I can't remember the job she's a data analyst, I think is what she said she used to do. And she worked, I think, in Jakarta, I believe. But anyway, she had that job and that's what she was doing prior to moving to the States. So she has been applying to jobs as well. And he says, listen, here's the thing. If I'm not being able to provide for you, like, I'm going to be seen as a pariah. And, he obviously doesn't want that. And he says, I think we need to look into potentially, I don't know, going back. And she says, I don't want to move back. And she kind of was like, I don't want to leave my family again. And she's like, it was so hard being there. I was sick, constantly seeing doctors and not getting answers, which again, I totally understand that. I totally get, but JoJo's over there, girl. I think he should have said that, but he's like, but JoJo's there? I mean, maybe we'll made her think a little more about the option of going back because JoJo, JoJo, you know what I mean? So, um, yeah. And she's like, no, they couldn't figure it out, which again, I think like this is something that when you deal with the thyroid that so many people deal with, whether it's hyper or hypo. This is something people deal with all the time. Unfortunately, a lot of people deal with this. I deal with this. I have hypo. So it's like, it's a simple blood test to determine what's going on. And then you get on whatever appropriate medication you need for that. So it's like, this isn't a crazy thing. And I don't know why this was so difficult for American doctors to diagnose. I don't understand. And that's why I will go back to the fact that I feel like it's the language barriers. Because again, we got a little bit of an insight here. She says that I have to go to all those appointments by myself. He wasn't there with her. So I feel like they see this girl, this young girl who doesn't speak, English is not her first language. She speaks well, but obviously they hear the accent, they see she doesn't speak English, it's not her first language. So like they just instantly dick her around basically. And I feel like unfortunately if James is not in the room with her, and it shouldn't be that way, but this is how I'm thinking. When James is not in the room with her, it's harder for them to figure this out. So I think we got a little bit of an insight on that. And I think that that helped me also kind of determine, okay, I feel like what I was saying previously was probably what was going on here. So I get all of that for her. I do. And she kind of says like, I don't work and all that, but why not? Because again, you were there you've been married for 3 years. I know there was a delay with work visas and everything due to COVID, but are we really trying to say here that she never got her work visa? She never got a green card? She must have because she traveled. And clearly, they were able to get back to the States because they are in the States. We know that they were, at least at the time of recording the tell-all. So clearly she has a green card, which means she most likely has a work visa. So why weren't you working? Why didn't you try to get a job? Why wouldn't you do that? I have questions that's now not being answered, you know? And we can't rely on Sean to figure it out because we're just gonna have to leave this here. Anyway, so she's like, well, you can go. I'll stay here. I don't think that's the plan. Um, and he says as much. He's like, I don't think that was in our plan. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out kind of what happens. I personally think this was never meant for them to stay there. I think this was just for the storyline. I don't think they were ever going to stay in Indonesia. I really don't. I think they were going to stay there for an extended period of time, which they have obviously done. And then they were going to always go back. That's what I think. I don't know. I feel like just like the Corona and Inky storyline, this too is a little massaged. I mean, their storylines is outright fake, but this is a little massaged. I don't know. But anyway, that is it for this episode. Again, thank you for your patience. We'll get it all done as much as possible. I don't know if we're going to have a lot of episodes coming out during the weekend, getting back into recording Next Take podcast for next year. But yeah, that's where we're at. So I will try my best though to see what I can get out to you guys. At the end of the day, we'll probably get stuff out, beginning of the week as well, and then get back into routine. But the next episode that you guys can expect to get today is most likely going to be a Sister Wives episode with Letitia. So that's what we're going to be doing. But that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And Don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Week Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.